Why do we repeat the same mistake and how to fix it? How many times have we been taken for a ride in the same absurd way? How many times have we seen friends choose a partner who responds to the same prototype and suffer the failure of their relationship? How many times do we do that stupid things again that one day we swore and perjure that we will not repeat? In short, why do we repeat the same mistakes over and over again? I just ask you the favor that you subscribe to this channel and give it a like. I'm Robinson Arévalo and welcome to Vida Universo Mente. Why do we repeat the same mistake? It is said that humans are the only animal that stumbles twice or three or four times on the same stone. It is curious that the creature that proclaims itself the most intelligent on the face of the earth also commits some of the biggest stupidities on the planet. We not only kill our fellow men, we exterminate the rest of the world's species and destroy the natural habitat on which we depend. We also repeat the same mistake over and over again. Human beings are the only ones who stumble two, three, or four times on the same stone. Why? First of all, because we misuse the brain, and if we misuse the brain, which is one of the most powerful tools we have, instead of creating wonderful things, we end up turning into a weapon of mass destruction that threatens the world and by extension against ourselves. To use the brain correctly, it is necessary to know how our mind operates and of course our body and our essence, the three parts of the being that work simultaneously. From this knowledge of oneself, we can begin to create our own path, as well as to fight against the limitations that prevent us from achieving our goals. Second, we repeat the same mistakes because we ignore the universal law that govern life and everything that surrounds us. Everything else happens in our life, but the law of cause and effect, law of least effort, law of chemical equilibrium. And now I would like to explain another very simple law. The problem that we do not overcome are repeat indefinitely. This simple law explains why we attract the same circumstances, the same lesson, or the same type of person over and over again. The reason is simple, because you haven't learned your lesson. You may not have analyzed the situation correctly. You may not have been critical enough of yourself, or you may have acted in the wrong way. The point is that you have not extracted the basic learning from each experience, and therefore you have not made the necessary change in your thought, attitude, or action to avoid repeating the same mistake. In short, you have not passed the test. Obviously, if you have not made that necessary change and learning, the universal, omnipresent, and omnipotent law always bring you the same result. That is, if you keep giving the same answer to the same situation in life, the end product will end up being the same, and ultimately the law I just told you about end up being fulfilled. The problems that we don't know overcome are repeated indefinitely. Why to not always repeat the same mistake? I would like to give you some instruction so that you stop repeating the same mistake all the time. They will help you get different and better results. Most of the things that happen to you depend on you and not on others or external agents. The more you take control and responsibility for your life, the more committed you will be to making that necessary change that will allow you to obtain the result you expect. Your way of thinking and actions use repetitive patterns to face the different situations that life brings you. If you don't like the result you get, you should do a critical analysis of your way of being, thinking, and acting. This includes your personal limitations and shortcomings like fear, self-deception, or your past traumas. If you don't analyze and find the causes of your failure and your bad experience, you will not be able to change the pattern of behaviors that is causing them, and then we repeat the same mistakes. Only by consciously facing problems can we solve and overcome them effectively, preventing them from reappearing. Time does not heal, it only buries problems, waiting for the slightest change to surface again. Probably on more than one occasion, you will have found yourself involved in a series of known events already lived, repeat, usually uncomfortable, and generating that feeling of not being able to avoid falling into the same story over and over again. You don't quite understand why, but it turns out that you find yourself in the same situation again, faced with the same difficulty, or you bump into the same type of people. Why does the same thing always happen to me? Why do I always end up dating married men or women? Why do my partners betray me again? Why are my friends never there when I need them? Like this, a huge list of questions that make you see that for one reason or another you end up repeating the same story. It is this that the other series of questions begin to appear that can lead us to think if everything that is repeat is random, or there is some specific cause that causes repetition, and even more if there is a way to prevent what hurts us or we don't like it happens again. Could it be that what I cannot stop repeating is called destiny? What is repeat when it's repeat? The repetition compulsion is a concept that Freud defined to try to give a foundation to the impulse of human being to repeat unpleasant or even painful acts, thoughts, dreams, games, scenes, or situations. It is a process of unconscious origin through which a person repeats in some way all experience without remembering that the same thing always ends up happening. Repetition is one of the main issues for which patients come to the office. What is repeat is what happens to the subject in a period of his life and is repeat again without him knowing how to get out of that circle. It may be that what is repeat are physical symptoms, attitude, situation, or relationships. These repetitions can generate in the subject anguish and the feeling of being locked in the same cycle without being able to modify it. That which trauma us, that hurt us, it repeats. Painful experiences, conflict, fights, painful situations, long lines of problems, relationship problems, etc. appear constantly. These current situations are characterized by the repetition of the same mistake and failure that's causing an existential void, a great unpleasantness. We repeat childhood. From psychoanalysis, this repetition of destinies of unconscious origin and arise in childhood in the first childhood experiences that were painful, sad traumas. The fear experience that have not been able to be overcome and elaborated in a positive way have as a consequence that the person repeats them during his adult life. The fears of abandonment, failure, relationship problems, betrayals correspond to patterns that are repeated in the person's life is a correlation with the fears family relationships. The subject repeats in his current life those painful primary childhood experiences, then unconsciously and automatically he unsuccessfully solved not successfully situation by repeating by way solves childhood emotional problems. What happened in the first years of our existence will mark our future life. What happened in early childhood in the original life, the rest is a repetition of those experiences and even from there and then. That is why the great importance that within a psychotherapy, the experience of the patient is others with respect to the memories he has on his childhood, that he can access this experience through his own word is repetition inevitable. From psychotherapy, the arm is to arrive at that point, and analyze began to be able to understand and elaborate the origin of their anguish which causes their discomfort. By understanding the causes, not only are symptoms relieved, which may be the same attitude, behavior, choices, and decisions that cause discomfort and pain, but fundamentally we access the possibility of making a break in this cycle of repetition, what is commonly confused with destiny. What happens in most situations is that patients do not register the level of responsibility, even if it's someone unconscious in repetition. And they usually look for a justification or explanation for this situation by giving repetition a meaning in the style of karma or destiny, as if it were something predetermined which has nothing to do with oneself and from which one cannot escape. The repetition of failure is negative and masochistic. Therefore, the person remains in an attitude of victim to not being aware that they are responsibility for what happens to them. In any case, we could speak of the possibility of repeating in a different way, or at least an improved version of repetition. This would imply being able to get out of that compulsive circle on of which one is not aware in principle, to become aware of what one chooses, what one does, and what one wants. This gives us that dimension that we are free even behind certain conditions that have left us traces and that encourage us to make certain choices or have certain attitudes that although they seem alien to us belong to us. They belong to us because they are part of our psyche or everything that shapes our personality, but that does not make us less free or less responsible. This implies understanding that there is not necessarily a marked, fixed, or inimitable destiny, and that we have the possibility of modifying our story, being makers of our path. A good therapeutic process allows us to work on the causes, to cause repetition, to liberate what has left mark or traces in a currently generating discomfort, to choose responsibly how to continue. In this way, repetition will no longer necessarily form part of the menu of our life and of our choices. As psychologist in my company, repetition also occurs in our work team within a company, and even in a sports team. There are companies and institutions which decide to hire a psychologist to understand now the repetition in the behavior and work on resolution of conflicts. In this case, not only a good therapeutic process is essential, activities and dynamic are also needed that first reveal what is repeat in order to later implement different attitudes and habits in a conscious way. Thank you for